Hello, my name is Ashley Baker. I'm a graduate student studying costume design at the University of Oregon, and today I'm going to be talking about painting a prosthetic piece. So as you can see, I have my finished pieces made out of liquid latex, and what I'm going to start doing is getting paint onto these guys. So I've already mixed my base colors that I care about getting on here. However, what I need to do next is to add Prosthetic. So Prosthetic, which is this guy here, is a medical adhesive that you mix into acrylic paint to get it to stick onto latex or prosthetic pieces. And the reason why you want to do that is so that you get paint that'll stick on here, but will also still be flexible enough to move with the prosthetic piece. And you get, when you mix these together, what's called PAX paint. So I'm going to take my Prosthetic here that I already have out, and I'm going to start getting some of it into my mixed acrylic paints. And what I want is about a 50-50 mixture of these. So here's that one so far. That's looking pretty good. And I'm just going to get a little bit in the next one here. So this one may need a bit more paint later on, but that's not too bad. And I have this color here. There we go. And adding the PAX or the Prosthetic to make your PAX paint may lighten the color a little bit. If that happens, just kind of keep going back and forth until you get something that you like. And lastly, I have my white here. There we go. And now that I have all this mixed up, I want to start getting into my painting. What I like to do is start off with a base that I can start building from that isn't this kind of creamy color, just because I like having something even to work with. So I'm just going to start off by getting a light layer, this white on here. And if you are at all concerned about the color that you're using while you're painting this and whether or not you might get it wrong, it's good to err on the side of lighter, because if you go too light, that's okay. You can always kind of darken it up a little bit more, but once you go too dark, it's a little bit difficult to walk that back. So I'm just getting the white on here. And if you can't really tell, because obviously you can't touch what I'm doing, because whoop, we are all in quarantine. But I am doing a really light brush stroke on here, so I don't want to put too much pressure on this piece. It's just like when you're doing makeup, you don't want to be too hard with your brushes. When you paint, you don't want to be too hard with your paintbrushes either. You also want to make sure that your latex at the ends isn't trying to fold in on itself. Almost got my white canvas done on this one, and while this one is drying, I can go back and work on my other one. So I think that one looks fairly good now. You really only want to get the tip of your brush coated in the paint. If you've ever taken painting classes before, dipping the entire brush doesn't really do anything. I'm trying to get the excess off from earlier when I was mixing. But really just using the tip of the brush is what's important. And it may take a few layers to build up the colors that you need, and that's okay. It is painting, and usually to get a more realistic look, you do need a few layers. And this one, I'm not too terribly concerned about getting all the way out to the edges, just because I built this one on purpose to be cut off. Oop. This guy does not want to stay in my hand very well. Okay. So this one's kind of sticky still. I might let it dry for a few more seconds here. While that is happening, I can clean this one up just a little bit more here. But I will be using these lighter light blue colors first. These horns that I created are kind of a white color with a bit of blue offsetting it, so I really want to get this white base on these guys built up. And then I can start adding some deeper hues here in the lighter blue, and then some in this kind of darker gray, which looking at it now, I think I actually want to add a bit more gray to this. That looks a little bit better. Okay. I'm going to do another layer of white on this one. It's not showing up super well on this, but it definitely needs this extra layer here, especially on the top where it's not going to be my skin color. I'm trying to get something that's kind of close to my skin, but I have a feeling it's going to be off, and I'll just have to work with it when I do the actual makeup, and that's okay. Talking about the skin color, and I'm almost going for it. Whoops. So this is difficult because it is a medical adhesive and it does want to stick to you and stick to itself. There we go. Now I'm going to go back to this one. Continue this process of getting the white on. Okay. I think that one's looking pretty good now. I don't have a fan to make this dry faster, so we're just gonna kind of hit it with some air. We're gonna go back to this guy. Yep, you can tell it's got medical adhesive in it. It's really wanting to stick to me. So now I want to go in and start just adding this kind of blue hue that I want. And I think that since I'm at a good spot, I'm just going to continue showing the rest of this process on this piece, just for the sake of time. But it's pretty much now just like painting anything else. So I'm trying to get a good fade in there. Nice. There we go. Kind of want to make it clear that there's a bit of a transition that happens between the horn and the skin. So adding this deeper hue there will kind of help me out. back and forth again, remember, to create that transition. I'm trying to get an even deeper gray now. Getting the prostate back in there too. And the reason why I want this deeper gray is that I can really get into these little crevices here. And I also want to start looking for these tiny little ridges here and see if I can just get a bit more dimensionality on there. I may go back with an even thinner brush later on and really pull those out and get some darker colors in there. And it's okay that I'm erring on the side of light right now. I'm starting to see. Don't like how that looked. There's a little bit of dimension happening in here now. There we go. And now I can go in and do the skin. I'm gonna add a bit more white paint to this. I think it is just a little too bright for my skin, but that's okay. And what I'm going to do when I apply this is I'm going to do what's called some like stippling, and I'm going to do some sunburn on there to help that transition between this prosthetic piece and my skin. So right now this guy wants to fold in on itself. Try to not let that happen because this is a medical adhesive and it will want to just stick to itself. So when you lay it out to dry, lay it out as flat as you can. As you can see, this guy is trying to struggle thus with me. Oh my god. You know what? That kind of did some cool stuff to this. I'm going to let it dry and we're going to see what happens. Sometimes mistakes turn into really cool things. This mistake of letting this piece fold in on itself, not as cool as dropping this in water. But basically, once you get this piece all cleaned up. There we go. It's difficult to see a lot of the detailing on here on the camera, but it's coming along. I have a horn. So this is great. So now I'm just going to let this dry, and we'll see if there's any more details that I want to add just to make it a bit more realistic. But for now, I've got a nice kind of frosty looking horn. Once again, I'm Ashley Baker. I'm a graduate student at the University of Oregon studying costume design. Thank you for watching.